Look, when you've been in this business as long as I have, you see a lot of old stuff. But some of the oldest and coolest things are coins. They tell a story. And the story of Dutch coins starts a long, long time ago. Before the Netherlands was even a country, the Romans were there. They built roads and forts, and they brought their money with them. We're talking about Roman coins like the denarius. These were small silver coins, and they were the first real money used in that part of the world. People in the tribes, like the Batavians, started using them for trade. It was a brand new idea for them. Before that, it was all about trading goods for other goods. Finding a Roman coin in the Dutch soil is like finding a piece of ancient history. These coins had the faces of emperors on them, guys like Caesar, Augustus, or Nero. It was a way for Rome to say, "We're in charge here." For the local people, it was more than just a picture. It was a connection to a giant empire. These coins were made of silver or bronze. They weren't super rare back then, but finding a really nice one today? That's a different story. Condition is everything. A worn-out Roman coin might be worth a few bucks, but a perfect one can be a real treasure for a collector. It shows how far money has come. After the Romans left around the 4th century, things got a little chaotic. The big empire was gone, and smaller kingdoms took over. This is the time of the Franks and the Frisians. They started making their own coins, but they were often copies of the Roman ones. They didn't have the same skill, so the coins looked a bit rough. They made something called a seat. These were small, thick silver coins, and the designs were very simple, sometimes just lines and dots. They didn't have a king's face on them yet. It was more about having something valuable that was easy to carry and trade. These early seats are fascinating because they show a world in transition. It's the Dark Ages, and people are figuring things out. Each little village or leader might make their own coins. Because of this, there are hundreds of different types of seats. Some are incredibly rare because they were only made in a small area for a short time. Imagine a small Frisian chief making a few hundred coins for his people. How many of those would survive over 1,500 years? Not many. When one of those shows up, it's a direct link to a lost world, a time before big countries and big money. That's what makes them special. So, after the chaos of the Dark Ages, a guy named Charlemagne came along. This was around the year 800. He was a big deal. He united a huge part of Europe, including the area that is now the Netherlands. He wanted to make everything standard, and that included money. He created a new coin called the denier, or the silver penny. This was a game changer. For the first time in a long while, you had one type of coin that was used across a vast empire. It made trade easier and helped connect people from different regions. It was a powerful symbol of his rule. These Carolingian pennies were thin silver coins. They were wider than the old seats and had a more professional look. On one side, you'd often see the emperor's name, like Carolf's, written around a cross. On the other side, it might have the name of the mint where it was made, like Dorestad. Dorestad was a huge trading port in the Netherlands back then, a real powerhouse. So, a coin from Dorestad is a piece of Dutch history and a piece of European history all rolled into one. These coins are important because they represent the return of order and a unified economy after centuries of confusion. Now, what makes these pennies rare? Well, a lot of them were melted down over the years to make new coins. That's what people did. When a new king came along, he'd gather up the old money and stamp his own name on it. So, finding one in good condition is tough, and some are rarer than others. For example, a penny made by Charlemagne's son, Louis the Pious, from a small Dutch mint is much harder to find than a common one from a big French mint. It's all about supply and demand, even with stuff that's 1,200 years old. Collectors love them because they are the foundation of medieval European money. The story gets even more interesting when you think about the Vikings. The Vikings loved to raid places like Dorestad because that's where the money was. They would steal these silver pennies and take them back to Scandinavia. Archaeologists have found hordes of these Dutch-made coins buried in places like Sweden and Denmark. So, a coin minted in the Netherlands could have traveled all over the world with a Viking warrior. Every one of these coins has a story you wish it could tell. It's not just a piece of silver. It's a witness to history, from the rise of empires to the terror of Viking raids. Fast forward a few hundred years, and we get to the Dutch Golden Age in the 1600s. This is when the Netherlands was the center of the world for trade, art, and science. They were sailing everywhere, from Asia to the Americas. And when you have that much trade, you need good money. This is where the famous guilder comes in. The guilder, or gulden, started as a gold coin, named after the gold florin from Florence, Italy. The first ones were called the Gouden Gulden. They showed a picture of a saint, usually Saint John the Baptist. It was a beautiful coin and a symbol of wealth. But gold was for big deals. For everyday life, they needed silver. So, they started making a big silver coin that was worth 1 guilder. This silver guilder became the backbone of the Dutch economy. It had the coat of arms of the province that made it. Remember, the Netherlands was a republic of 7 provinces, and each one minted its own coins. A guilder from Holland might look slightly different from one made in Zealand. This variety is what makes collecting them so interesting. You could try to get one from each province. These coins were used to buy everything, from tulips to spices from the East Indies. Another very important coin from this time was the gold ducat. The ducat was the international currency of its day, kind of like the US dollar is now. The Dutch ducat was famous all over the world for its quality. It always had the same amount of gold, so traders everywhere trusted it. The design was iconic, a knight standing with a sword and a bundle of arrows. The arrows represented the 7 provinces, united and strong. This coin traveled the globe on Dutch trading ships. You could find Dutch ducats in Russia, India, and even in the American colonies. They were that trusted. What makes these Golden Age coins so cool for a collector is that they are tied to so many amazing stories. A gold ducat might have been in the pocket of a sailor on a ship that fought pirates. A silver guilder might have been used by the painter Rembrandt to buy his canvases. Because the Dutch were everywhere, their coins were everywhere too. Finding a 1650 Dutch ducat is like holding a piece of that incredible era of exploration and art. They are not just money. They are artifacts from a time when a tiny country on the North Sea ruled the world's oceans and markets. That's a powerful story to own. Now, let me tell you about a coin that has a special place in American history. It's called the Leeuwendaalder, which is Dutch for lion dollar. This was a big silver coin, first minted in the province of Holland in 1575. The Dutch made it to pay for their war for independence against Spain. It was a bit lighter than other big silver coins of the day, which meant it had less silver. This was smart. It meant they could make more coins with the same amount of silver, which was perfect for paying a lot of soldiers. It was a war coin, born out of a fight for freedom. The design is what makes it famous. On one side, it has a big, impressive knight, but the other side is the important one. It shows a lion standing on its back legs, just like on the Dutch coat of arms. It's a powerful image of courage and strength. This lion dollar became incredibly popular, not just in the Netherlands, but all over the Middle East and in the American colonies. People in places like Syria and Turkey loved it. They even had nicknames for it, like the Abu Kelb, which means father of the dog in Arabic, because they thought the lion looked like a dog. So how did it get to America? Well, the Dutch had a colony called New Netherland, which included New Amsterdam, what we now call New York City. The lion dollar was common money there. Even after the English took over, the coin stayed in circulation. It was a familiar and trusted piece of silver. Colonists in New York, Pennsylvania, and Maryland used it for trade. It was so common that the word dollar itself might have come from it. The Leeuwendaalder sounded like dollar to English speakers. So, when the United States decided to make its own currency, the name dollar was a natural choice. For an American collector, the lion dollar is a must-have. It's a direct link between the old world and the new. It's a piece of colonial American history that you can hold in your hand. These coins were used by the first settlers. They were jangling in the pockets of merchants in colonial New York. Because they were used so much, many of them are very worn. Finding one with a clear date and a sharp image of the lion is a real challenge. Each one carries the history of global trade, revolution, and the founding of a new nation. It's much more than a coin. It's a piece of the American story. Before the Netherlands became one unified kingdom, it was really just a collection of different provinces, cities, and lordships. And, well, almost all of them made their own money. This is what makes collecting Dutch coins from the 16th to the 18th century so fascinating. It's a huge and complex field. You have coins from the big, powerful provinces like Holland and Zeeland, but you also have coins from smaller places like Utrecht, Friesland, or Gelderland. Each one had its own mint and its own unique designs, usually featuring its local coat of arms. It was a way for each province to show its independence and pride. Let's talk about some of the smaller coins. It wasn't all about big silver dollars and gold ducats. People needed small change for buying bread or, you know, a beer. So, they made coins like the stiver, the duit, and the ord. A duit was a small copper coin, and there was actually a saying, "Een duit in het zakje doen," which means to give your small contribution. These coins were made by the millions, but because they were low value, nobody really saved them. They were used until they were completely worn out. So finding a beautiful, well-preserved copper duit from, say, 1680 is actually much harder than you'd think. One of the most interesting parts of this era is the city coinage. Major cities like Amsterdam, Deventer, or Nijmegen had the right to mint their own coins. These are often very rare because they were made in smaller quantities and only used in a specific area. For example, a coin from the small lordship of Stevensweert is a major rarity. They only made coins for a very short period. When one of those comes up for auction, collectors go crazy for it. It's a piece of hyper-local history, a snapshot of a time when a small lord could have his own money. It's like a puzzle with hundreds of tiny pieces. Think about the Dutch East India Company, the famous VOC. This giant trading company was so powerful it even minted its own coins. They made special duits with the VOC monogram on them for use in their colonies in Asia, like Indonesia and Ceylon, which is now Sri Lanka. These coins tell a story of global trade and colonial power. A simple copper duit with a VOC mark on it sailed halfway around the world. It connects the history of a small Dutch town with the history of a spice island in Asia. That's what's so amazing. Every little coin, no matter how small, has a big story to tell about its journey. Everything changed in the early 19th century. After the Napoleonic Wars, the Netherlands became a kingdom. No more provinces making their own money. In 1815, King William I became the first king of the new Kingdom of the Netherlands. And you know, a new kingdom needs new money, so they created a whole new system of coins. The guilder was still the main unit, but now the coins were standardized across the entire country, and for the first time they featured the portrait of a king. This was a big shift from the old coins that just had coats of arms. The most famous and beautiful coins of this period are the gold coins. King William I issued gold 10 guilder and 5 guilder coins. The 10 guilder piece is a classic. On one side, it has a great portrait of the king, looking very serious and regal. On the other side is the crowned Dutch coat of arms. These coins were made of 0.900 fine gold and were a symbol of the new kingdom's stability and wealth. They are beautifully designed and are very popular with collectors, not just in the Netherlands, but all over the world. They represent the beginning of the modern Dutch state. Now, what makes some of these coins rare? It's all about the numbers. For example, the gold 10 guilder coins were minted in most years between 1818 and 1840. Some years they made millions of them, but in other years they made very few. The 1826 B10 guilder, minted in Brussels, is much scarcer than one from the Utrecht mint. And then you have King William II, who only reigned for 9 years, from 1840 to 1849. He made far fewer coins than his father. A gold 10 guilder coin of William II
is a prize for any collector because of its low mintage numbers. Rarity is often just a matter of a king not living very long. Then there's the story of the trade ducats. Even after the kingdom was formed, the Netherlands kept making the old-style gold ducat with the knight on it. Why? Because traders all over the world still trusted it. So they kept minting them as trade coins, meant for international business, not for use at home. This tradition continued for almost 200 years. A gold ducat from 1816 looks almost the same as one from 2016. It's a testament to the power of a good reputation. Owning a gold coin of King William I is like owning a piece of the foundation of modern Holland. It's solid, it's classic, and honestly, it's got a great story.
Queen Wilhelmina had one of the longest reigns in history. She was Queen of the Netherlands from 1890 to 1948. That's almost 58 years. Because she was on the throne for so long, they made a ton of coins with her portrait on them. You can see her grow up on the coins. The first ones from 1892 show her as a young girl with long, flowing hair. The later ones show her as a mature, powerful queen. For collectors, it's a fascinating journey through one person's life and a country's history, including 2 world wars. Most of Wilhelmina's silver coins are quite common. The silver 1 guilder and 2.5 guilder coins were the workhorses of the economy. But there are a few key dates and special issues that are incredibly rare and valuable. The holy grail for collectors of this period is the 1891 25-cent coin. Wilhelmina wasn't officially queen yet. Her mother was the regent. They made a trial run of a few coins with her portrait, but they were never released to the public. Only a couple are known to exist. If one of those ever came into my shop, I'd have to call in an expert for sure. It's a legendary rarity. The story of her coins gets really interesting during World War II. In 1940, Germany invaded the Netherlands. Queen Wilhelmina and the government escaped to London. But the Dutch colonies in the East and West Indies still needed money. So the Dutch government in exile did something amazing. They arranged to have their coins made in the United States. From 1943 to 1945, the U.S. mints in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco produced millions of silver coins for the Netherlands. You can find a Dutch guilder with a D for Denver on it. It's a powerful symbol of the alliance between the U.S. and the Netherlands during the war. These American-made coins are very popular with U.S. collectors. It's a piece of our history as much as it is theirs. They show how connected the world was, even during a global conflict. After the war, the Netherlands had to rebuild. They were short on precious metals, so for a few years, they made coins out of cheaper materials like nickel and bronze. The silver coins from before the war became symbols of a better time. Wilhelmina's reign covered a period of huge change, and her coins tell that story, from the peace of the late 19th century to the turmoil of war and the challenges of rebuilding a nation. After Queen Wilhelmina, her daughter Juliana became queen in 1948, followed by her granddaughter Beatrix in 1980. The coins from this period reflect a modern, prosperous, and peaceful Netherlands. The designs became more stylized and contemporary. The silver coins of the past were mostly replaced by nickel. The last regular issue silver coins were the 1 guilder and 2.5 guilder pieces from the late 1960s. After that, silver was only used for special commemorative coins. For many people, these nickel guilders are the coins they remember from their childhood. They represent the everyday life of the post-war era. As a collector, you might think these modern coins aren't very valuable, and for the most part, you'd be right. They made millions and millions of them. But there are always exceptions. Every once in a while, the mint makes a mistake. These are called error coins, and they can be very rare. Maybe a coin was struck on the wrong metal, or it has a double image. These little mistakes can make a common coin worth a lot of money. It's like finding a treasure where you least expect it. It keeps collectors hunting, even through piles of modern change. The biggest change in Dutch money came on January 1st, 2002. That was the day the Netherlands, along with 11 other European countries, switched to the euro. The guilder, a currency that had been around in some form for over 700 years, was gone. It was a huge moment in history. The government gave people a short time to exchange all their old guilder coins and banknotes for new euros. After that, the guilder was no longer legal money. It was the end of a very long and proud numismatic story. The last guilder coins, designed by Tim van der Laan, had a simple, abstract grid design. They were a modern farewell to an ancient currency. Today, the guilder coins are purely collector's items. They are a reminder of a time before the European Union was so integrated. For many Dutch people, they bring back memories. For collectors, they represent a complete collection that has a clear beginning and a clear end. You can collect the entire history of the kingdom's guilder, from William I in 1815 to the final issue in 2001. It's a manageable and fascinating story told through metal. The switch to the euro made every guilder coin in history a collectible artifact overnight. It closed one chapter and started another.
So, why should a collector, especially one in America, care about old Dutch coins? Because it's a story about the whole world. The history of the Netherlands is a history of exploration, trade, art, and war. And every single coin is a tiny piece of that history. When you hold a Dutch lion dollar, you're holding a coin that was used in colonial New York. It's part of the American story. When you hold a gold ducat, you're holding the currency that powered global trade for centuries, the ancestor of our modern, interconnected economy. It's a history that touches everyone. The variety is just incredible. You can collect for a lifetime and never run out of things to discover. You can focus on the ancient Roman and medieval coins found in Dutch soil. You can try to build a set of coins from all 7 provinces of the Golden Age. You can collect the beautiful gold coins of the 19th century kings. Or you can tell the story of World War II through the emergency coins minted right here in the United States. There's a niche for every type of collector, from the beginner to the expert, who wants to spend big money on a top rarity. What I love about it is that you can still find real treasures. This isn't just a hobby for rich people. You can start a great collection with the small copper duets or the nickel guilders from the 20th century. They are affordable, and each one has a story. As you learn more, you can hunt for the rarer pieces. You might find a scarce provincial coin in a dealer's bargain bin because they didn't know what it was. That thrill of the hunt is what gets every collector through. It's about knowledge. The more you know, the more you find. Ultimately, these coins are tangible pieces of the past. They're connected to people who lived hundreds of years ago. They were in the pockets of sailors and merchants, soldiers and artists. They survived wars and revolutions. They crossed oceans. In this business, I've learned that every object has a story. But with rare coins, that story is especially powerful. They tell us about economics, politics, art, and human ambition. And the story of Dutch coins is one of the best out there. It's a world-class collection waiting to be discovered. You never know what's going to come through that door.